your expectation going into the 5 days and what turns out?
Yeah, look, we wanted to compete. We know India are a good side. But once again, one really bad session with the bat has destroyed our chance in the test match. Look, I suppose 400 is a good score, but it's manageable in Chittagong. There's no way we should be bowled out for 150 in the first innings, and that's what's lost us the game. So some really poor decision making with the batters, and that's the most disappointing thing for me.
This has been happening for a long time. This part of 2022 was that is betting active. Can you point out anything anywhere?
Look, there's obviously a lack of confidence in the top order. There's no doubt about that. The young player who hasn't played test matches with us and is confident at the moment has come in and shown us how to do it and played really well. He's obviously coming to the test match confident from his A side and domestic performances, and the rest of the guys, confidence is just pretty low at the moment and not managing to find a way to get out of that slump. There's a whole host of players in the top 5 or top 6 that haven't played as well as I'd have hoped and been as consistent as I had hoped, and that's disappointing.
Last one from me. Can you explain Mohammad Hassan Joy's exclusion?
Yeah, his exclusion. Look, it's based pretty much on the fact that domestically and for the A side he hasn't really got a lot of runs of late, and hasn't played international cricket for close to 5 or 6 months now, I suppose, and hasn't got the number of runs that we'd have hoped for domestically and for the A side, and that's probably why. It was a no-brainer to pick Zakir because he's confident and coming into some form, and that's the reason he missed out.
Yesterday, Ravi, we saw that at number 3 both the innings. So obviously, he takes it for some certain reasons. But what was the process? I mean, he didn't bat at the top for a while. What was the process?
We had to mix up the batting order simply because there was no one else really to bat number 3. We wanted to get a right-hander into the top order. He's a guy that did well in a couple of test matches when he played. He played the last test match, I think he played in, did he play in New Zealand? The New Zealand series, and got some runs. So then got injured. So he looks to score and looks to play nice and powerful, and that's the reason we got him up at number 3. We couldn't bat Saqib 3, we couldn't bat Mushfiq 3, we couldn't bat Litton 3, we couldn't bat Shawan 3, but we want to give him an opportunity. And if there's a good place to bat up the order, it would be in Chittagong, because it's a good wicket, probably the best time to bat against the new ball because you can score. So that's the main reason we got him in at number 3.
And what was the whole scenario with Saqib? Was he full fit there?
He could play as a batter. Obviously, he didn't bowl enough overs because he's still struggling with his shoulder and with his bruising, which is obviously a big blow for us because it leaves us with 4 bowlers, and then one bowler breaks down, Eberdot breaks down, then you're stuck with 3 bowlers. So it's a very difficult side balancing at the moment because our batting order is not confident, our top order, but we've also got bowlers who can't bat, so 9, 10, 11, and not their fault because they're not there to bat, but it leaves us a little bit vulnerable with only playing 4 bowlers.
Coach, 2 questions. Firstly, is Shakib available for the second test as a full
I'm not 100% sure about whether he'll be able to bowl it. He's definitely available to play as a batter, which is obviously an issue for us because he's an all-rounder. You need an all-rounder. So at the moment he'll need to be assessed the next day or 2, but at the moment fit to play as a batter.
So you are willing that he plays as a batter only?
He's got one of our best records. He got 80 in the second innings, and he's the captain of the side. So whether like I say, all-rounders, whether if you're an all-rounder, you get picked in the team. If you're not bowling well, you're still worth your money with a bat. If you're not batting well, you're still worth your money with a ball, and he's worth his money with a bat.
You tend to take decisions for a long term. You want to give someone a bit of a run. So can we expect Yasir to bat at number 3 again in time?
It depends very much on the makeup of the team. We were hoping Shakib could bowl a few overs here. It's something I need to think about going forward because the nature of the wicket in Mirpur is different. So we need to get an understanding what the wicket's going to be like before we make a decision there. But like you say, I don't like chopping and changing that much. I like to be fair to players. So at the moment, the middle order pretty much jammed up with Saqib, Mushfiq, Litton. So wherever he plays, he's got to make use of his opportunity because sometimes you don't bat in the position you want to bat in, but you've got to make it count.
Slightly, one more. It's about Shanto. He scored a few runs today. Slightly relieved also him and the manager.
Yeah, look, I'm disappointed with the way he got out. In the day, 60s are not going to win you test matches, and anybody can get a first bowler. That's part of test match batting. Any opening batter can get a first bowler. That's the nature of the game. So I'm probably more disappointed with the way he got out at 60 than the way he got out for first ball. So he's missed a good opportunity there to get a big score and really nail down a spot, which is disappointing. And it's always, for me, it's the manner of dismissal. Anybody can get out, but it's the way you get out that can tell a story a little bit sometimes.
Bangladesh was coming match on a high after the one-day series, and India was not in such a good series. Like, though there are different formats, confidence was perhaps with the Bangladesh. Do you feel a bit disappointed that it has sort of gone off and nobody gives a fuck?
I'm very disappointed. I'm actually, and I said to the guys, like, I was actually a little bit heartbroken after the first thing, because I know they're putting in the effort and the guys are trying hard. Abidot's working extremely hard in his fielding. But when it comes to the middle, they then make a mistake. He takes all his catches in practice, he's putting in extra catching, ball comes to him, he drops it. So they're putting in the effort, but they're just not executing in the pressure moments in the game, and that's the frustrating thing for me as a coach, and I'm sure for the players as well. So I am very disappointed with the way we've unravelled in these 5 days. So some good character yesterday with a bat, which is pleasing to see, but it's a good wicket and should never be bowled for 150 batting on day 2.
Thanks. We talked about 4 decisions with the bat. What did you think about the dismissal of someone like Yasir Little Das yesterday?
Yeah, look, I've had a chat a little bit to Yasir, to Rabi. Obviously, got a reasonably good ball, but at international cricket, you've got to find a way to defend against those balls, because you've got to expect the ball to either get to LBW or spin past your bat. So he's got some work to do there. I was pretty disappointed with Litton's dismissal. Particularly the timing of it, 6 minutes to go before tea time, where things were going pretty, and he's such a good player, and I'm sure he'd be disappointed at dismissal as well, because I can't see Virat or Joe Root or Steve Smith or Marnus giving their wicket away in that sort of mode 6 minutes before tea. And Litton's that good for us. I really think he's such a good player that he'd be disappointed, and I'm disappointed with the way he got out yesterday.
Coach, you said you wanted Swan to give for a long time for in test, but thinking about our team combination, do we really have that luxury to play another wicketkeeper in Swan?
It's tricky when Sakib can't bowl. That's the challenge. If Sakib's bowling, then it's easier to do, I suppose. Look, Sohan's done really well with the bat. He's got no runs this game, and that's always the challenge in Bangladesh. Is you don't get runs today, you must be dropped, but you forget about the game before that, what the player did. So you just need to take a step back and absorb it and think about it a little bit more. But just one test to go in the West Indies, I think he got 50 and 50. So he'd be disappointed with his dismissal, particularly yesterday, but not to make too emotional a decision. We've still got a couple of days before the next test match.
What is the plan with Domingo about? You picked him the squad, this is one of the days where he scores runs. What is the plan?
Yeah, look, I mean, Mominal's got 10 of his 11 hundreds at this particular venue. But Mominal will be the first one to admit that the last year or so, domestically and internationally, hasn't got the runs that he needs to get. But he's too good a player to not have around. So I think it was important for him to still be part of the squad. You cannot lose a player of Mominal's quality, because he's the one player that's got more than 10 test hundreds for Bangladesh. So good to still have him around the squad, and will definitely be considered for the second test match. But like a lot of other players, Mominal's also a guy that hasn't got enough runs over the last year. There's no doubt about it, whether it's domestically, whether it's for the A side, whether it's for Bangladesh. He hasn't got enough runs. He's one of a few guys that haven't.
What is the problem with him? What do you think he's having? What problem is having?
Mominal. It's like everyone else. It's confidence. It's confidence and constant scrutiny, and he's probably trying too hard now. He's probably listening to a lot of opinions, trying a lot of things, and he needs to go back and find his way of getting runs, because he knows how to get runs. But it's confidence and pressure. It's a tough place, international batting. Some of the best players in the world have gone through slumps like that, but managed to find a way through it, and he's got to find a way through it. Because I know he's a quality player.
How do you evaluate Sakib's dedication in a test match?
How do I evaluate his dedication? It's a tricky question. It's a good question. Look, when he's in the contest, like you saw today, he's got pride in performance. So he comes across very laid back, but when he's in the contest, he gives 100%. When you look at it from the outside, you can maybe look at him and think, oh, does he really care? But I know in his performances and with champion players, they have got a lot of pride in performances. So Sakib doesn't want to be embarrassed there when he's batting or when he's bowling. He's competing 100%. So in terms of his own individual game, there are no question marks with his desire to play and perform.
Another question arises, Sakib doesn't want to play Test cricket as much as other formats. Is it just a myth or real?
That you need to ask Sakib. I can't comment on what he wants and what he doesn't want.
Last two questions. Just a bit of a follow-up to what he asked the first question. So, with so much decision making with JRs and other things, can you actually afford a captain not to feel close and then keep somewhere and be part of the discussions? Is that also part of the
No, look,
captain?
I mean, the captain's got to trust his bowler and trust his wicket keeper. He's got to trust their judgment. You can't expect the captain to know and understand absolutely everything that's working. So I got no issue with that. He's got to trust the judgment of the keeper and the guy that's delivering the ball and have faith in their decision making.
Last question.
Sir, Manoj from Sports Area.
Hi, sir.
Right, hi. This spin has been an area of concern for Bangladesh, particularly like across formats. So how do you cope with that? There are some certain things which you are doing for that.
Say that again, that question again, sir?
This spin has been an area of concern.
Wrist spin.
Wrist spin, yes. So like across formats, we have seen that. So is there something going on regarding how to tackle that and how to cope with that?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because from the time I got to Bangladesh, I've been trying to encourage leg spin, particularly in the shorter formats of the game. And I've noticed once again in the BPL that both wrist spinners that we're looking at possibly haven't been bought in the BPL, so that's a little bit concerning for me. Bangladesh's bread and butter has always been left arm spin and a batsman who can bowl off spin. And particularly in the shorter formats and particularly on flatter wickets, you need to find somebody who can bowl wrist spin. The biggest challenge is that they've never had a role model as a wrist spinner. India have had wrist spinners, Pakistan have had wrist spinners, Australia have had wrist spinners, Bangladesh haven't had a great wrist spinner that other players try and emulate. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done with identifying that guy and encouraging him and selecting him in formats and competitions below the national side and keep picking him and developing that play, because at the moment there are very few around. We tried Biplop and he's a batsman who can bowl leg spin and has done well in T20 cricket for Bangladesh but doesn't get bought in the BPL, so it's a tricky one for us. It's hard to pick a guy for the national team when he's not getting picked in domestic teams. We've done it before, but it's hard to continuously do it.
For batters as well, like how to prepare for such challenges, like only with their
Absolutely. We've got one or two guys who bowl in the nets that's bowl a little bit of wrist spin. But it's not Kuldeep's wrist spin, and it's not Rashid Khan's leg spin. So they're not used to playing that quality week in, week out, which is also a challenge. Pleasure.